Hey folks, now as many of you already know, I watch a lot of YouTube videos, and the thing that I find quite amusing and quite interesting about flat earth believers is the common thread that I have noticed between all of them. Now normally I cover my arse and never use the word all. I usually say a lot, many, or not all. But in this case I have to say the common thread with all of them, which is anything they don't understand or they don't know how it works equals, in their mind, cannot work or cannot be true, because it appears that they seem to think that they are at the peak of all understanding and all knowledge. So if there anything that goes past them just cannot work because they don't understand how it works, or it can't be true because they just don't simply understand it. Now, which I find, quite frankly, arrogant, to be honest with you, because I don't claim to be an expert on everything. There's some things I know a lot about. There's many things I don't know much about. I don't know the theory of everything, and I will never claim that. And so if there's something that's beyond my understanding, I would either, and if I want to know about it, I would take the time to research and ask questions and find out about it. I just wouldn't make the assumption, well, that can't work because the great me, the great I am, I'm so up my own arse that anything that's beyond my intelligence, it cannot work. And the other thing I find really crazy about some flat earth believers is they think by asking me questions, somehow it validates something. Which, again, I find really strange and really sort of silly. Now, unless I've made a claim, and I stated that I know about it, or I've experienced it, or I've done it or carried it out, then yes, you could ask me questions about the thing that I have claimed. You could ask me about what I've experienced, what I've seen, and what I have done. Yes, by all means. I mean, you could ask me anything you like, really. But the point I'm making about this point now is whether or not I give you the correct answer doesn't validate anything. If I didn't know that 2 and 2 makes 4, right? And you asked me 2 plus 2 equals what, Ron? And I was to tell you it equals 6. Well, the answer still is 4. Doesn't matter what I tell you, the answer still is 4. So ask me a load of questions doesn't validate nothing. You really, I mean, if you want to know how certain things works and so forth, and you're confused, really you should either do your own research or go to the establishments and institutes and find out how they work and how they came to their conclusions. Asking a member of the public doesn't validate it, unless you're after some kind of ego trip to say, well, I don't know. I don't even know the logic behind that thinking. I mean, if someone hasn't made a claim of something, and you haven't taken the time to find out about the qualifications on the questions that you're asking. I mean, personally, I couldn't give a flying. I was going to swear there. I'm trying to be more respectable. I don't really care what you ask me. You could ask me anything you like. Whether I have the right answer or not is neither here or there, because reality is reality. And so you could go ahead and ask me questions. So, I mean, if you're a flat earth believer and you are somewhat offended in my mannerism and things I've said, well, I'm sorry, but you've got yourself to blame for that, because I have a saying that I've seen through life. The impressions that I have of people is the impressions that they have given me. By their own hands, they have given me that impression of them. So if I'm shining you in a bad light, that's your fault because it's by your own actions that's given me that impression. So what can I say? Just because you don't understand how something works doesn't mean it can't work. That is beyond arrogant. That is stupid. You know, if you don't understand how something works, take the time and find out about the thing that you don't understand. Simple, 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 simple. Right. Anyway. Oh, another thing. Just before I go, was another thing I noticed as well. With their logic is the cherry picking. The cherry picking it's ridiculous. I mean, they'll find one thing that appears to fit their narrative, and they use that for the explanation for all of reality, which is crazy. I mean, like I've said this before. Imagine a car manufacturer took that same approach. They bring a car on the market for the use of the general public. It goes through maybe one test. It passed that one test, so they mass produce it. I mean, the lawyers would have a field day if something went wrong with that. True science, you got to analyze it multiple times, multiple tests. You don't just observe one thing that appears to fit a narrative and then us explanation for everything. I mean, for example, there's a guy, YouTuber, flat earth believer YouTuber, D Marble. He made a video about sunlight, and unfortunately, that video had been debunked. He misunderstood about the time zones, and it was done in the summer, so he couldn't understand why there was sunlight in Australia, in America, and in the UK. But what he didn't sort of realise, the time of the year and the type of sunlight. The sunlight in the UK, it was just after sunset. The sunlight in Australia, I can't remember what that was, and so he kind of insinuated that we're on a flat plane and there's light all over the place, which again, he just done one test, and he claimed victory for everything. No. You got what you should have done. He should have done multiple tests. You know, like just last night, I had a video call from the Philippines, and it was 10 to 11 in the night in the UK, and where he was, it was like 6 o'clock or something in the morning. You could see daylight, the sunrise, and it was pitch black here in the UK. So that doesn't fit with D Marble's video, you see. And a true scientist will think, well, that doesn't fit with his theory. So we need to investigate. Why doesn't it fit? You need to investigate, why does that not fit? And then you go from there and you check out other examples. You make lots of phone calls, video phone calls around the world, and you compare all the data. You don't just take one data and say, oh yeah, there you go, that's the proof for everything. That's ridiculous. That's stupid. That's dumb. You see? So there you go. Well, so this is the flat earth believers' logic, and this is I'm pointing out the flaws in their logic. But anyway, I don't expect a flat earth believer to be convinced or learn anything from this, because from what I've seen of them, you can't really come to them with facts. Once they're locked in orbit and they believe something, they just believe it. I mean, if NASA presented me on television, they would even go so far to say, nah, he's not a real black man. He's a fake. He's not really black. He appears black, But nah. He's from NASA, so he can't be a black person. He's probably a white man with makeup as a black person. Really, yeah. It wouldn't surprise me if they would come out with something like that. You know, they could see that I'm a black guy, but they wouldn't believe that I'm a black guy because somehow, because NASA's involved, then I gotta be fake, even though I'm right here in freaking front of you. Anyway, there we go. There you go. So, like I said, if you're a flat Earth believer and you're offended what I've said in the way that I've carried myself, I can't really apologize because you've given me the impression it's by your own hands, by your own actions, I have come to this conclusion. So what can I say? I mean, I would love to apologize, but I can't really because it's by your own doing. Okay. So everyone else, like I said, I'm just talking about the flaws with their logic, and there you go. All right, thank you very much. I hope you all have a good day, and thanks for watching. Okay, I don't take your time for granted. You got things to do, so thanks for watching my video. Okay, bye.